and using spatial audio, it sounded like the person I was on the presence more than a FaceTime call because it sounded like this person was there, but just their head, you know, like it's just like floating head.
Were there hand gestures?
Yeah, I could see their hands. If she raised their hands, I could see their hands. But it was only if the hands came into view of like that part of their body. Like you have to, like the hands have to raise to high, right? I expect that there will be apps where we could have that immersive or in the same room experience. Like Apple's not making that. If Meta doesn't bring Horizon Workrooms to this thing, then they're crazy. They should make a version of this for the Vision Pro. Like, understand where you are, Meta. Like, you should be this like the platform, like a platform as well as a hardware thing. Like, make a version of your app for this. Like, you should do that. Whether they will, I don't know. I think if they don't, it's like stubbornness or hubris. But like, they should make a version for this thing. But maybe that's a thing we'll talk about later on, just so people can have those experiences too. Because I think I could imagine that we could have these calls and it would be somewhere in between, like a regular FaceTime and a like full-on VR meeting. It kind of slots in the middle, and I'm not sure where that like sense of presence, where that line is drawn. Is it drawn in between FaceTime and Vision Pro FaceTime, or is it somewhere between Vision Pro FaceTime and Horizon Workrooms? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure exactly where the line of, all right, we were doing this together, where that line is drawn.
Yeah, I think it's also because in that episode that we did about the Facebook system, I spent an unreasonable amount of time complaining about the avatar system, and I was like very curious about how people were going to do it. And watching the presentation, I had this feeling of like, oh, I'm totally fine with this. I have no problems with this. But I was trying to think about why, and that's when it dawned on me to realize, oh, because the difference is that in VR, I am making an avatar that I am physically instantiating in that world. It's overlaid on top of me. And in the Apple system, it's more like, oh, I'm creating some puppet of me, but that is for you on your FaceTime call. Like, I have nothing to do with that. And I think that's why I just like, oh, whatever, I don't really care at all about this as a system. Or all of my complaints about the Facebook system, just it didn't trigger in my brain because that digital model of me is not in my experience. It's not in my world in the same way that it is in VR. And that's why I was realizing, like, it's a FaceTime call with just the other person.
Yeah.
I presume that you don't have a little window where you see your own puppet, right? You're just doing whatever, which would be like an update, right, from FaceTime. Like, I think seeing yourself on FaceTime is one of the things that makes FaceTime tiring and hard, yeah.
And I expect the person I was on the call with did not get a visual representation of me. Like, I don't think that was going on. I think they were just seeing nothing.
Right.
This is technology where, like, I think my experience of it was not optimal, and I'm intrigued to see where they go with it. It feels like the Bose 1.0 part, they probably have the most room for improvement here, just because of, like, as the technology gets better, as they learn more, get more data, they can update this and make it better. If they're able to pull it off, maybe I'll be happy with it. Right now, this is the biggest question mark for me of, like, what will these calls actually be like with the personas? Would it be better to just use an emoji? Right now, I'm not sure. The thing I was most impressed by, out of anything, was this section that they did about entertainment. So I watched a bunch of movies. I watched a clip of Avatar 2, which was in 3D, and it was the 3D movie, right? Which was the best 3D movie experience I've ever had, ever. Because what I don't like about 3D movies is you put the glasses on and everything gets dim.
Yeah, it's all dark.
This was bright and crystal clear. I will never see a 3D movie in a cinema again when I have one of these things, because this is the best way to experience 3D movie. I could have the screen as big as I wanted. I also made it look like I was in a cinema. They had the whole cinema environment thing. So I could tap on the environments part, and I was able to say select cinema, and it moved the screen back, made it bigger, put the kind of like darkness around, and I was in a cinema. I could also watch it from the top of a mountain if I wanted to, but I wouldn't want to do that. So, you know, you can turn it into this like full cinema experience and just watch the movie like on a big screen, and it's fixed in place, you know? This feels like, honestly, a great way to watch a movie. It's like a huge screen, just so precise, so clear, so bright, so detailed. Like, I could not believe how good this visual